Welcome to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We keep it rolling. Hour number 2 of the VSiN Weekend Morning Line. Happy Masters Sunday to you. Final day of the regular season in the NBA. We'll get to some best bets later on in the hour. Also this hour, Wes Reynolds will jump on the program. We'll get his thoughts on the final round of the Masters, which, of course, is already underway, but you won't see the leaders until later on this afternoon. Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau, their round scheduled to start at 2:30 Eastern. Rory 12 under, Bryson minus 10 right now as they head into the final round of the Masters. And we've talked about it a little bit. 2011, of course, brings back some bad memories for Rory McIlroy, shooting an 80 as he headed into the final round with a 4-stroke lead. This time, 2-stroke lead. And Bryson DeChambeau, I tell you what, as he said yesterday after the round, he said he's not going anywhere. He's not afraid. Birdie on 15, birdie 16, birdie 18 to wrap up his round. At one point, he was 5 back. Now just 2 back to head into the final round. But as mentioned, over our shoulder here at Circa, a little bit of love in the market for Rory McIlroy as his number continues to grow for him to win the Masters for the first time in his career. So it should be an incredible atmosphere here today. Speaking of which, taking a look at what is happening right now at the Masters, Justin Thomas, my hopes for him to finish top 20 are very quickly fleeting as he is 2 over through 4 today and right now tied for 52nd. So I'm going to go ahead and say that ticket, we can light that one on fire. Hideki Matsuyama, though, maybe make it a little bit of a run to get into those top 20 markets as he is off to a good start here. He is 2 under. Yesterday was a rough round for Hideki Matsuyama, shooting a 7 over 79. He had 3 bogeys on the front 9, 2 bogeys, and then the double on the back 9. So a rough day for Hideki Matsuyama. We'll see if he's able to finish out his round 2 under through 6 today, as we do have folks on the course right now there in Augusta. But one thing that we know, and we heard from Rory McIlroy in the first hour of the show, which is Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau, 2 of the most popular players on the tour right now. Of course, Bryson being on LIV, but when they get to these majors, big crowds follow. You think back to the U.S. Open. Hell, you think back to yesterday and some of the things that we saw from those crowds. Bryson DeChambeau fully anticipating a great crowd as he and Rory are in that final pairing today.
It'll be the grandest stage that we've had in a long time, and I'm excited for it. We both want to win really, really badly. And it's, there's a lot of great players behind us too. Got to be mindful of that and focus on, it's about who can control themselves, who can execute the golf shots the best. And in regards to the patrons, it's going to be an electric atmosphere.
There's no doubt. It's going to be tremendous to see this unfold in front of our eyes. And Rory McIlroy, the odds-on favorite now, but you can take a no price on Rory. If you think he is not going to get it done, you obviously can bet on Bryson. And the one long shot, at least Jeff Seeley believes, has a possible chance would be Ludwig Oberg. He believes he could get his way to maybe pull off the stunner at 40-1. And Shane Lowry was another recommendation for him, not outright, but maybe to finish top 5, as his number was around 2-1 for Shane Lowry to finish in the top 5. More golf talk and handicapping. Wes Reynolds going to jump on the program here in less than 10 minutes. Todd Fuhrman later on in the hour as well. But I wanted to hit on this because we played you the sound of Josh Heupel in the first hour of the program. Josh Heupel, head coach of Tennessee, talking about the decision to part ways with Nico Iamaleava. Apparently they wanted more money. There was some rumors that his dad, Nico's dad that is, sniffing around a little bit. So Nico, he is out at Tennessee. And it made me think about who are the best quarterbacks coming into college football this upcoming year, and could it lead to some bets out there? Because there's a strong belief, and understandably so, that Arch Manning is going to have a breakout season. Could he? Absolutely. When you think about the talent that he has, the roster constructed down there at Texas, and his play caller. But are we ready to anoint him as the best quarterback coming back in 2025? I'm not ready to do it. Only a couple of starts just a year ago behind Quinn Ewers. So the exercise I ran through last night was, all right, let's rank the top 10 returning quarterbacks in college football. And when you think about the portal, not a huge number of pieces moving around in the portal. There is one on here on my list that I put on, that I am excited about. But my number one returning quarterback is Cade Klubnik of Clemson. I think he is primed for a massive season. And I also think it's a bit of the situation that is abound in college football right now, where you think about who are the big names coming back. I mean, a year ago we had, Shedeur Sanders. We had, Dylan Gabriel going to Oregon, Cam Ward going to Miami. I mean, some of these massive, enormous names, it's just not the case right now. Look, some of these guys are going to step up and have big-time seasons. But to me, another year under Garrett Riley down there at Clemson, I think Clemson is primed to have a heck of a year. I'll talk about this with Todd Fuhrman, but I think Clemson making it to the college football playoff a year ago, beating SMU in the ACC championship, I think Cade Klubnik and Clemson are primed for a big year, and I think Cade Klubnik is the best quarterback coming back in college football. Number two for me, and this was a tricky exercise because I'll be honest, I made a list of about 25 different quarterbacks, and a couple of them who I left off the list, I'll run through real quickly. I left off Avery Johnson at Kansas State. Had a ton of buzz last year. Maybe it's a bit of a bounce-back situation. Luke Altmaier coming back at Illinois. I think he could certainly have a big-time season. Rocco Becht at Iowa State. Jake Retzlaff at BYU. All guys I ultimately left off this list. I also left off Carson Beck down there at Miami. But number two is DJ Lagway. And I know that Sunbelt Billy, a guy that we like to bet against quite a bit here at VSiN, and we'll see how the year goes. But DJ Lagway, in the few glimpses that we saw from him last year, I came away pretty fired up. And I'll give my guy Bud Elliott a little credit here. He has DJ Lagway as his top quarterback coming back in 2025. So I put DJ Lagway sitting there at number two. And, is it a little bit talking out of both sides of my mouth if I've got Lagway at number two, but I don't have Arch Manning that high? I think we saw more of DJ Lagway than, we saw of Arch Manning, and the pieces of Lagway are pretty exciting. Last year, throwing for 12 touchdowns through 9 picks, so that's certainly a curiosity. Other pieces, other quarterbacks for me. Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. Another year for Garrett Nussmeier. He's got an enormous arm, and he's kind of playing into a little bit of the hype. And now another year for Garrett Nussmeier down there at LSU. But I think he's primed to have a big season, so I put him at number 3. Sam Leavitt. At this point, I got to tip my cap to Sam Leavitt. Watching him in the Big 12 championship game against Iowa State, and look, he doesn't have his safety blanket. Cam Skattebo is gone. So could this look a little bit different? Certainly possible, but I came away very impressed by Sam Leavitt in the Big 12 championship and in the first round in the quarterfinals of the playoff for Arizona State when they went up against Texas. Drew Aller at 5. Could I be a little bit higher on Drew Aller? Certainly, that is the case, but I was there, man. I was at the Orange Bowl, and that was a back-breaking interception that he threw against Notre Dame, a throw he should have never made. Honestly, you could make Andy Koltenicky a little bit question his decision-making, the offensive coordinator then at Penn State. But I think you could make the argument Aller could be a little bit higher. But for me, I put him there at number 5. I think we know what Drew Aller is. Look, he's got Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton still in that backfield. But, I mentioned Sam Leavitt. He's not going to have Cam Skattebo. How about the fact that Penn State is going to be without Tyler Warren, the best tight end in the country? I mean, think about the Orange Bowl loss. He did not complete a pass to a wide receiver. So I think Drew Aller has the makings of a pretty good season, but I'm a little bit lower on him than maybe the rest is. All right, 6 through 10. Lenora Sellers at South Carolina. I think Lenore Sellers, you saw glimpses of it last year. You saw him running as well as he did against Clemson in that regular season finale. I think Lenore Sellers has the possibility to have a monster season down there in Columbia, South Carolina. The lone transfer I've got on this list, and you know, we here at VSiN are big proponents of the Mountain West. Devin Dampier at New Mexico was phenomenal, man. And you could see just kind of the makings there of what he could be. Now he goes to Utah, new era there at Utah. So I think Devin Dampier could have a massive season. 8, I went Arch Manning. 9, Haynes King. I think you could be a little higher on Haynes King at Georgia Tech. I think he could have a big-time season. And when he was healthy, this Georgia Tech team, as we saw in the regular season finale against Georgia, this team is a capable bunch. Love that underdog role. And speaking of underdog, I had to put my guy Diego Pavia on here. Someone who has helped us cash so many damn tickets. Give me Diego Pavia as my 10th quarterback heading into college football this year. But I'm telling you, do this exercise at home because I think you will have a wildly different top 10 because some of the names that I left off, Sawyer Robertson down there at Baylor. I left off John Mateer, who makes the move from Washington State to Oklahoma. I left off Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, Kevin Jennings at SMU. There's a lot of intrigue, but not a lot of certainty outside of Cade Klubnik. I think Cade Klubnik's going to have a monster year. Clemson, I think, will win the ACC. And I think they have a chance to maybe even win the national title this year. Hey, ready to get in on action? First Bet has you covered. Sign up now to access exclusive promotions and bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races. Visit firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com, and use the promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
Keep it rolling here on a Sunday morning. Final round of the Masters is underway. We'll see Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau in the final pairing as they will get their round going at 2:30 Eastern down there in Augusta, Georgia. And we'll see if Rory McIlroy can finally wrap up the career Grand Slam. We'll talk to Todd Fuhrman coming up in 15 minutes. We'll get some NHL thoughts from him, and I know he's chomping at the bit a little bit to talk some college football, so we will circle back to that here in just a moment. Hey, just a reminder, folks, you could take VSiN with you anywhere, anytime. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today and stay connected to the action wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app. It's available on your phone, tablet, and smart TV. You can check out the VSiN Watch app, and you get 24/7 live access to our audio and video streams, replays of your favorite shows. You never miss a moment. Big screen streaming straight to your smart TV, quick access to clips by sport tailored to your interests. So watch VSiN anywhere. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Google Play and Apple App Store. So Todd Fuhrman going to join us here in just a moment. We're going to catch up with Wes Reynolds, I believe, here in a little bit as well as we get you prepared for the final round of the Masters. And as we jump into the final round of the Masters and as well the final day of the NBA season, and just taking a look at the NBA board right now. We'll talk to Zach Cohen in the final hour, and I was texting with Zach regarding today's NBA card. It is certainly a challenge to handicap that NBA card today. The lone game we know that both teams will be 100% focused is Clippers-Golden State, which will tip off a little after 3:30 Eastern, and I've got a play on that game, which we'll get to later on this hour when we do our best bets. But let's head to our progressive guest line and welcome in our colleague here at VSiN. It is Wes Reynolds. You can follow him on social media at Wes Reynolds1. And Wes, good morning, sir. We've got the final round of the Masters, of course, here. And we'll start with Rory McIlroy. You can get plus money on the no from what you've seen from McIlroy. Back-to-back 66 down there at Augusta. Does he get it done? Or are you interested in maybe looking at that plus money on the no at Circa?
Yeah, Tim, good morning. Glad to be with you. I think this is finally the day where Rory gets it done. What the 11th time is the charm, I think, because he's been trying to complete this career Grand Slam since 2015. It's really hard to believe, excuse me, when you look at it, that he has not won a major championship since 2014. That is shockingly hard to believe, because I think McIlroy is the best player of the post-peak Tiger era, if you want to call it that. I know, Brooks Koepka has as many majors, but nobody's as accomplished as Rory McIlroy. And I think when you look at it today, there's so much on the line for Rory, I think, even more so than for Bryson. And obviously there's a lot on the line for Bryson to win another major and win the Masters tournament and the turnaround that obviously he has had in terms of the public perception of an athlete, like he's high-fiving the gallery as he made that 45-foot putt off the green at 18 yesterday to get into this final pairing. But when you look at it on Rory's side, this is more than just beating his rival, because we remember, of course, what happened last year at the U.S. Open, where Rory, pretty much gagged it away. And Bryson was there, to receive it. One man gathers what another man spills, as the Grateful Dead would sing. And he ended up winning the U.S. Open. Rory did not meet with the media after, left Pinehurst in disgust. So there was some negative perception on him. But so it's beating Bryson, obviously, who I think is this closest thing to a rival. But it's also for career immortality. It's the opportunity to sit at the main table and complete that career Grand Slam, sit with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger and Gary Player and Ben Hogan and Gene Sarazen, the only career Grand Slam winners. And I think it's really for the right to be called one of the all-time greats of the game. And this is one I think that Rory's got to have. This is one where I think he has to win. I think he's been the best player all week. He is number one in strokes gained ball striking. He is number one for driving distance. He is number one in the field for approach. He is number one for strokes gained tee to green. He's been the best player despite his hiccup on the back nine on Thursday. He's been the best player. So, he was talking about in the media availability, or the press conference after the round yesterday, that he had watched Zootopia in the morning, the movie with his daughter Poppy. Well, I wonder if he watched Tin Cup though last night, because if you recall in that golf movie, there's a quote from Kevin Costner's character Rory McIlroy, and he goes, "When a defining moment comes along, you define the moment, or the moment defines you." And I think that applies to Rory absolutely today. I think he's got to close this out, and I think just get this albatross that's been on him. And I also think to say, okay, yeah, Scotty Scheffler's great. Yeah, some of these other guys are great, but I'm the great of this era. And I think that's what Rory has to do today, and I think he's going to.
We're talking to Wes Reynolds. Of course, you can hear him on the Long Shots podcast. You can read his work at VSiN.com. You can check out all of his plays, of course, if you're a VSiN Pro subscriber, over at VSiN.com/picks. So Rory right now, I just looked it up, the updated odds. Yes, -213, no, +183. So if you're looking to, get off of your position, you can get that no. What do you expect today from Bryson? Because the quote from him yesterday, and I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit, was, "I'm not going anywhere," right? Rory gets the eagle at 15, place goes bananas, and Bryson responds with a birdie on 15, birdie on 16, birdie on 18. So he goes from 5 back to 2 back. So what's your expectation for Bryson today in that final group with Rory?
He probably isn't going away. He's probably right. And the fact that, this isn't going to be meant to be easy for Rory. It kind of looked like it yesterday early in the first round. It's like, okay, he's going to make a statement. He's going to put these guys away. But Bryson DeChambeau around the green, nobody has been better this week around the green. And I think number 18 was evident of it yesterday, where, hits one kind of wide to the left side. He's about 45 feet away. He could still putt it. Like, he's not in the rough. He's kind of on the fringe, but not exactly on the green. And he absolutely drains it. And I think DeChambeau, his short game, I think, is really what carried him. Yeah, he's certainly hitting it long, almost as long as anybody, almost as long as Rory. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's been the around the green where he is number one this week in the field. The putting, he is up there. I'm not sure he's quite number one. I think he's in the top 5 in the field for putting. But one thing Bryson's got to do is he's got to hit those irons better. The irons were terrible yesterday. He lost almost 2 strokes on approach yesterday. I think he hit like 7 greens. And these greens are not like massive greens, but they're not small. They're about average, about 6,500 square feet on average. And Bryson couldn't hit him yesterday. He was kind of all over the place, but managed to get a 3-under round and managed to get in the final pairing here. So I don't think he's going away, but the ball striking has to be better. Yeah, you got to think, okay, Rory's going to continue to bomb drives off the tee. He's going to continue to hit greens and leave himself some birdie chances. It's if he can make enough. So I personally, I have a bad number, albeit on Rory. I mistimed it totally. So props to those that got him at like 12-1 after round one, or maybe 14-1. Maybe if you're in that situation, you might take at least a little bit of Bryson, just to, earn some money and lock in some profit. With me, I only got like 450. So I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just going to, hope it gets there. And I think it's going to. It seems like this is going to be a Rory to Bryson showdown, but you can't necessarily, play the matchup. It's like, do you play the matchup or do you go ahead and hedge off the position? I think if you have the Rory ticket at double digits, you play a little bit off the position just to be safe. But Connors is back there at 8-under. Now, Connors is never really challenged for a major. He's got 3 top 10s here, but he's never really challenged down the stretch. And, it's going to be wild to see if somebody can maybe make a run from the back. I think Charles Schwartzel is the last guy in 2011 when he made those 4 birdies at the end of the round to stone Rory and Adam Scott. He's the last guy that's been 4 or more back to come back, and that was all the way back in 2011. So you tend to think it's going to be the final group that wins this thing.
All right, Wes, before we let you run, we got about a minute here with Wes Reynolds. Anyone else that you're looking, whether it be top 5, top 10, a matchup for today in the final round of the Masters?
Yeah, we'll see if I think Colin Morikawa is going to somehow find his way back into the top 10. I think it's about even money. He's T14, so he's just 1 shot out of it. From a matchup standpoint, and shop around, because some books just offer if you're playing in the pairing with each other. So in terms of a matchup, I would be looking I maybe Reed over Connors. Would be one to look at. I think it's -110 either ways. I like the way Reed has played. He made my outright card, so he's been kind of very quietly up there, T4, and then the second to last group. Xander Schauffele over Nico Echeverria. I think Xander's kind of gotten progressively better over the 3 rounds here, where he started at 73. So that would be one I'd look at. You maybe could parlay some of these if your shop lets you do that, where you can parlay a couple of these like favorite matchups, whether it's like a Spieth over Grazerman or Schauffele over Nico Echeverria, but not a ton out there for the matchups. But looking forward to a great Sunday, and looking forward, I want to see Rory get this monkey off his back.
Yeah, it would be nice, and I think you and I would enjoy cashing those tickets as well. Didn't feel so optimistic on Thursday night on primetime, but happy where we're at right now. Hey, Wes, always appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always on the Masters.
You bet, pal. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Wes Reynolds, giving us the latest on the Masters. We go from Wes to Todd Fuhrman. He'll give us some thoughts on the NHL card today, as well as maybe a little college football thing here or there.
You're tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
Happy final day of the Masters, ladies and gentlemen. Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, they hit the course 2:30 Eastern today. Should be phenomenal television, and hopefully for a lot of us here at the network, Rory McIlroy finally is able to wear that green jacket, so we will see as the day gets closer. Right now, the current price, -213 on Rory at Circa, and if you think he will choke it away, +183 on the no. All right, let's head back to our progressive guest line. Always great to catch up with Todd Fuhrman. You can catch him during the football season, the Bet the Board podcast. Of course, you can also see him on CBS Sports HQ. I do want to talk some NHL with you, Todd, as I'm ready to pull a Costanza. Gave out the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday. They won 7-0. I'm ready to retire. I'm out. We'll get to the NHL here in just a moment, but I know that you've been doing a weekly radio hit in Tennessee for a long, long time. So you probably have a unique perspective on this Nico situation. How did this kind of all unfold? And we'll start with the Tennessee side, because Josh Heupel said, we're good. We're going to move on. No one's bigger than, Tennessee itself. Where do you look at this Tennessee team heading into 2025 now that they will be without Nico at quarterback?
First things first, I think to your point, you have to give Josh Heupel a world of credit. Him and the other power brokers within the program decided, you know what? We're not going to get held hostage in this particular situation. We understand how we can evaluate our quarterback talent, one that had a full season of work under his belt. And the rumblings had started as early as December, even going into the playoffs, that Nico was going to want to try and renegotiate his contract. Not sure how he thought he had more leverage after that performance against Ohio State to try and get more money from the school. But here we are when he had talked about the number being $4 million that it was going to take to keep him on campus. There was growing skepticism that Tennessee was going to pony up the cash. And then as far as it being forward facing, we started to see it really come to a bubble to a head, so to speak, with Josh Heupel's comment saying we're going to move forward as a program and we wish Nico the best. What's interesting about this, in my opinion, is that you watch Tennessee last year and you watch as much college football as anybody. I don't think anyone came away going, you know what really kept this team afloat was their offense. He didn't put up Hendon Hooker-like numbers. He wasn't putting up those crooked stat lines against SEC caliber competition. Back out the UTSAs, the Kent States, and it was the defense that kept that team as nationally relevant. So we'll see where Nico lands. I'm sure somebody will pony up. I'm just not sure he is a $4 million quarterback, even in the current landscape of the NIL.
Yeah, it was funny. And I know, you can't just completely drop him off the odds board, but he's still 7th right now on the DraftKings odds board to win the Heisman Trophy. And that might be more of an indication of where we're at from a quarterback standpoint because, big picture, thinking about the quarterbacks coming into this year, and you think back to last year, right? Cam Ward goes to Miami. You knew he was going to be a success down there. Will Howard goes to Ohio State. Riley Leonard goes to Notre Dame. Dylan Gabriel goes to Oregon. When you look at the quarterback landscape, Todd, and I did this exercise to start the hour, there aren't a ton of quarterbacks that you can just blindly say that guy's going to be great this year, right? I mean, there's a lot of unknown, I feel like, heading into this year, which kind of makes it unique from a futures betting standpoint.
It makes it unique trying to handicap these teams and what we're going to get for their full season body of work. The one market that I think has suppressed odds as a result is, of course, our beloved Heisman Trophy. I mean, we go through the names that are up there other than the Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, and maybe Cade Klubnik at the top of the board. It's a lot of mediocrity and unproven commodities that are coming in the teens, as I think the book is out for a lot of odds makers. Hey, look, if we think a team is going to be nationally relevant, they can win 8 games and flirt with playoff eligibility, we're going to suppress that particular price. And for me, the one name that really jumps off the page, Tim, because we both watched him while he was under Chip Kelly's tutelage at UCLA, is Dante Moore being priced in that 16-1, 18-1 range. If Oregon is able to get the same production out of Moore leading that offense like they had in 2 consummate pros in Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix, who ended up with more than 45 starts under their belt, a hat tip to that offensive staff. And I think that's what's going to make things so compelling, because does a quarterback in Florida like DJ Lagway take the next step? Do we get Carson Beck to revert back to the form that we saw early on at Georgia? Because going into last year, this was a guy 7.5, 8-1. Granted, Georgia had higher team expectations than Miami, where he is now, but at 25-1 if Beck can regain his status. But are you running the window to bet John Mateer stepping up in class at 32-1? A lot of question marks that are out there for me. And I think if I was trying to make a case for a quarterback that I watched a little of for Ole Miss, I think Austin Simmons is a very unique talent, kind of as a dual threat guy. I'm not sure he's going to get first-round draft buzz like Jackson Dart, but that's a different discussion for a different day. And I think it makes that market so fascinating because odds makers don't want to create some of that liability. But if you read the reports out of South Bend from yesterday, apparently you guys have the next coming of a Brady Quinn and Joe Montana potentially under center.
2 Heisman trophies, Bino Cook style for CJ Carr with Ron Paul is still on staff. Just pointing that out as we get a little deep cut there. Yeah, CJ Carr, from all accounts, looked the part, but we'll see. Notre Dame in a unique situation. But once again, Notre Dame doesn't go to the portal. Ole Miss doesn't go to the portal. Bama, all these teams don't go to the portal. However, we do have a new portal window opening up on Wednesday, so maybe things get a little wild and wacky. We will see how it all plays out. Todd Fuhrman joining us courtesy of our Progressive Guest Line. You can catch him on CBS Sports HQ. And, of course, the podcast. Make sure you check it out, the Bet the Board podcast, which we all will be chomping at the bit to hear Brad Powers and his college football futures that he'll be firing on the podcast this summer. I do want to get a little hockey with you. As I mentioned, I'm thinking about retiring. 1-0, walking off into the sunset with my 7-0 win with the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday. But, we talked about the NBA, Todd, and, how it's such a kind of a wacky mess right now heading into the final day. Any unique situations today on the board that you think are worth a play right now?
There's one, and I took a partial position on the game because I'm still awaiting some lineup information, but wanted to try and get ahead of it. Played a little bit of the Edmonton Oilers right around a pick'em price. I know if you shop around -105, we can kind of call the consensus. Edmonton has been dealing with a rash of injuries, but there is some optimism that they could get the return of Leon Draisaitl and his 50-plus goals to their lineup today. They'll most likely be going into the game without Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, a couple of depth pieces up front. Stuart Skinner expected to return from injury in net as he'll look to regain some of what the Oilers hope can be a postseason form to carry them to another Stanley Cup final run. And on the flip side of things, Winnipeg clinched the Central Division yesterday. We saw Vezina winner Connor Hellebuck get the nod, so I expect Eric Comrie in net. And while Winnipeg does have a little bit of work to do to wrap up the President's Trophy, which I think could be a big deal for a franchise that has never won that, I'm going to question how hard they're going to push their guys over the final two games, because as we saw yesterday, your Washington Capitals don't appear to pose much of a threat to trying to win out to take home some of that hardware. So I'd look at Edmonton right around a pick-em price. Don't love it, but I think that's the best on the board. And if you like to live a little bit dangerously, the price tag right now on the Calgary Flames in every sports handicapper's favorite must-win situation is borderline ridiculous at -$3. So if you want to dabble on the Sharks and take a shot at +260, you would have no qualms about that, or maybe even looking to back the Sharks on the puck line, plus a goal and a half.
Todd Fuhrman joining us here, courtesy of our Progressive Guest Line. Todd, we saw a couple of series prices pop as we're starting to see the NHL playoffs come to shape. We have 3 series prices available. We got Stars and Avalanche, and that is going to be a fascinating matchup. It's a true pick'em right now at DraftKings. And then also in the West, we've got Kings and Oilers. Oilers, a slight -$1.35 favorite. So looking at the Western Conference, the 2 prices that we already have, any interest in either one of those series prices right now?
Not with the Oilers, given the fact that they're a $1.40 favorite. Want to see the injury report, and most likely the Kings are going to start at home. So you will have a unique situation where I anticipate Game 1's number to open up right around a pick'em. And if you like the Oilers for the series, you may be able to get in and out, bet them Game 1, and then come over the top if they were to lose Game 2. The Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche pricing is a little bit off for me. Look, I know Dallas has earned a ton of respect in the futures market when you look up and down the pecking order in the West. I have Colorado power rated significantly higher than them. Dallas does get an edge in net with Jake Ottinger over Mackenzie Blackwood. But I think this Avalanche team and all the moves that they made, not just at the deadline, but trying to rebuild their roster, in my opinion, they're the most complete team in the Western Conference, and assuming that all the players are more precautionary that are being sat out for the final regular season game today later against the Ducks, I think that's a little bit of a cheap price. Would have no problem backing the Avs at a pick'em and looking to try and back them in Game 1 at a price tag right around even money where I expect it to open.
Todd, before we let you run about 30 seconds, Eastern Conference, who do you have as the best team in the East?
For me, it's still the Florida Panthers, and of course, we're going to wait and see if Matthew Tkachuk can rejoin the team for Game 1. He's supposed to resume skating. We'll see if he's in a full contact jersey. Aaron Ekblad not going to be away from the team until Game 3 as he serves out the remaining games on his suspension for PEDs. But this is a Florida team that has that championship pedigree. They haven't placed an emphasis on trying to win the division. So Florida's still number 1 in the Eastern Conference for me. Number 2 or 2A, I'll say the Carolina Hurricanes, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Toronto only a half cut back. And I know this is going to hurt your DC heart, Tim, but I have the Washington Capitals checking in even lower than that. So I'll have the Caps pegged as kind of the 4 or 5 seed in the East as we look towards the playoffs.
Not to the heart, Todd. I thought we were friends. Todd, appreciate it, sir.
You can only handle so much prosperity in the nation's capital. Ovi winning, breaking Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring mark may be the peak of what we see on the ice for the folks that want to rock the red all spring long.
We'll take it. There he is, Todd Fuhrman. It is VSiN.
Tuned in to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line.
We keep it rolling here on a Sunday morning. Tell you what, man. I know we got the Masters today. Final day of the regular season in the NBA. Hockey wrapping up as well. talking college football has kind of got me the warm and fuzzies inside. I'll just tell you. And I'm going to put my rankings out there on Twitter to get eviscerated, I'm sure, by plenty of fans when it came to my top 10. I'll say this. I thought Todd made an interesting point. I can't put Dante Moore on my top 10 rankings for quarterbacks coming back this year, but if you believe the hype, you think about the system that they've got out there in Oregon, plenty of athletes. I think Dante Moore, a guy that, look, they went out, they spent some money on Dante Moore. He was a big-time recruit, went to UCLA, played, here and there, wasn't great, had a full season to sit behind Dylan Gabriel. I'd be curious to see what the best price we get on Dante Moore to win the Heisman Trophy is right now at around 20-1. And I do know, look, this isn't the homer in me, but there was a lot of excitement coming out of South Bend yesterday with CJ Carr. I'm not saying that he's going to win the Heisman at 75-1 at FanDuel, but that's what this year is. And we'll dive into it much more as the summer comes about. But there's a lot of unique situations across college football from a quarterback standpoint. And obviously, a handful of these guys are going to surprise us. And I think us as bettors, we have an opportunity at some point, whether it be now or in the summer, to look around. I will say this, and Colin Wilson made this point yesterday on Twitter. We do have another portal window here coming up this week. So I would say probably want to be cautious on some win totals because we are going to see some movement. Now, we're going to see massive movement. Obviously, we know Nico will be in the portal. Tennessee probably is not going to sit there on their hands. You would think that they're going to go try to get a quarterback. So there's going to be some movement. Will it be as much as the winter portal? No, but still, I think there will be some movement there. But yeah, spring football happening. I'm getting fired up. Can't wait to fire up the old college football betting podcast yet again. But thanks to Todd Fuhrman. Thought some good insight there. And I might have to get down on that Avs series price against the Dallas Stars. -110 right now at DraftKings, even though I did contemplate retirement, as mentioned. 1-0 with the Blue Jackets yesterday. I might have to pull a Costanza and just walk out on top. But Todd, some good stuff there. Did say he liked the Oilers a little bit today from a best bet standpoint. And that series price on the Avs against the Stars could be one to look at. We'll get to my best bet for the day here in just a moment. But as you all know, final round of the Masters is underway. And as we look at the leaderboard, we know it will be Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy trying to finish this thing off. Both are looking for their first career Masters victories. If you do have some Hideki Matsuyama in your back pocket, not to win, but a top 20, whatever it may be. Yesterday was a disastrous day for Hideki, going 7 over. How about today, though? Front 9 for Hideki Matsuyama. He is 4 under. So he is now 4 under through 9 holes. And just taking a look at the Masters board right now for Hideki Matsuyama. I was going to pull it up, see what his price is. To finish top 10, which still needs some work there, he's 40-1. So if you think Hideki Matsuyama can continue, right now he is sitting at T25. So still a lot of work to be done for Hideki Matsuyama, but he's had a strong day today. He is 4 under. Brian Campbell, 3 under through 10 today. And then on the flip side, Justin Thomas, I think we can officially put to bed my top 20 on Justin Thomas. He's 1 over through 8, 5 over for the tournament, and he is going to finish, looks like, outside the top 50. Here is Justin Thomas. Akshay Bhatia is also at 6 over. So that's where we stand right now. About to hit the courts here in just a little bit. Denny McCarthy, he will start his final round. He's 1 over, shot a 71 yesterday. Sahith Theegala also 1 over, about to start his round. John Rahm and Joaquin Niemann both will start in the noon Eastern hour. But we all are waiting for Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau to get back on the course. Rory McIlroy, 12 under par yesterday, a 66. Just phenomenal yesterday out there. Back-to-back 66s for Rory McIlroy. And here is Rory on his thoughts as he preps for Sunday.
Yeah, I think I still have to remind myself that there's a long way to go. Just like I said yesterday, 18 holes. Just as much as anyone else know what can happen on the final day here. So, I've got a lot of experience. I came in here talking about being the most complete version of myself as a golfer. And, I just have to keep reminding myself of that and remind myself that no matter what situation or scenario I find myself in tomorrow, I'll be able to handle it.
Right now, minus $2. $213 was the price at Circa. If you believe Rory can get it done, and a number of us, including yours truly, have Rory McIlroy in the back pocket. I have him outright top 5, top 10. Hopefully, he's able to bring it home. Was I confident on Thursday night when I opened the show with Matt Euman saying that we were going to do 4 hours of content and start strong and finish strong? Unlike Rory McIlroy, after a double on 15 and a double on 17, I didn't think many of us thought we would be in this spot. But here we are, Rory McIlroy, 12 under, and he is the odds-on favorite to win the Masters. Hey, folks, just a reminder, if you want to know where the money is really going, unlike other sources, our betting splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings Sportsbook, giving you insight into where the sharp action is landing. Circa is known for taking big bets from professional bettors, while DraftKings provides a broader perspective. That means you're getting real action, not just public money, but the kind of wagers that move lines. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle of every game across every major sport, helping you bet smarter. Get VSiN's summer special right now all the way through August 1st for just $59. VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSiN.com. I was texting with Patrick Everson last night from Vegas Insider, and he always has great insight over there on Vegas Insider, and he had a couple of insights here that I'm going to run through here. He said Rory and Bryson at BetMGM, the top two liabilities to win the Masters. Rory, number 1 in tickets and money. Bryson, number 2 in tickets, number 3 in money. The Westgate Superbooks winners preference in order: Corey Connors and Shane Lowry. And in parentheses, he said, not happening. And actually, Rory McIlroy, he's only a modest win for the book. So that was the Westgate Superbook. And then at Caesars, Rory and Bryson were 1-2 in tickets to win. DraftKings, they were 1-2 in bet count and money. So this from Patrick. So generally speaking, the betting masses are going to have a good Masters as long as Rory or Bryson gets the victory. And it would seem that is the likelihood here for the Masters to end up that way. Corey Connors at 18-1, Scotty Scheffler and Ludwig Oberg sitting at 40-1. All right, let's get to a best bet, and this is a little bit of a hat tip to JVT as he talked about this yesterday. We have one game of importance that both teams know what is on the line, and that would be the Los Angeles Clippers against the Golden State Warriors later on this afternoon. The scenario is this: if the Clippers beat the Warriors, they get the 5 seed and maybe could get up to the 4 seed if the Nuggets lose to the Rockets. The Nuggets, their situation is simple. Beat the Rockets today, you're the 4 seed. Clippers, you beat the Warriors, you're the 5 seed, could get up to the 4 seed. Minnesota, if they get a win today against Utah, they're guaranteed a top 6 seed. And by the way, they're a 24-point favorite against the Utah Jazz. Warriors and T-Wolves, that's where it gets interesting. Once again, if the Warriors win today and the T-Wolves win, your situation would be this: Denver 4, T-Wolves 5, Golden State 6, and the Clippers 7. So I do like the Clippers a little bit, but I'm going to roll with what JVT discussed, which is this is going to have a bit of a Game 7 feel at the Chase Center, and I'm going to take under 220 in this spot. I think 220.5 might be out there at Circa, but we'll call it 220 for grading purposes. That's the way I will roll here on that one, and that is my official bet for today. And our best bets, as always, brought to you by our friends over at G Bank, the official bank of VSiN. GBank is upping the ante, folks, with up to a $750 bonus for new GBank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening receive a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now. VSiN.com/GBank, VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions do apply. So we're going to go under in Warriors-Clippers later on this afternoon. And hopefully we can also get those Rory McIlroy outright tickets home as well. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.